There's a big problem with this tree. It needs to be pruned in a bad way, and the whole thing just looks sick. It looks like it's dying, and I have clients that need to do the same thing, and you have customers, processes, all kinds of stuff that needs to be pruned. That's what we're going to talk about today. That was my neighbor's oak tree. That's what a healthy oak tree is supposed to look like. None of that stuff on the bottom, nice clean branches, great shape. But pruning, I remember when they pruned that tree and it looked like they were destroying it. There were so many branches out by the street. You didn't see any way that tree was gonna come back. And within a couple of weeks, it looked absolutely phenomenal. Pruning is necessary. It always looks like you're going too far, but usually you don't go far enough. See, everybody assumes that when you talk about pruning, you're talking about cutting people. But the truth is, businesses accumulate way more processes, procedures, policies, and other junk that gets in the way of delivering great service, great profitability. They acquire a lot more of that stuff than they ever do people, and that's the stuff that you have to prune. One time I was looking at a prospect and we were considering doing business together, and I asked them to send me a bunch of information. One of the things they sent me was their operations manual, and in that manual they actually had, this was only a couple of years ago, they had a policy against parachute pants in their dress code. Needless to say, they could have done a little bit of pruning. The first step in the whole pruning process when it comes to getting rid of policies and procedures and all the stuff that you don't need is to get it all out on the table. Sometimes literally this is a conference room table. At a very minimum though, it's a list of all the processes, all the procedures, all the policies, in whatever way, shape, or form you can get it. Even if it's just handwritten on a piece of paper or several pieces of paper. So once you have everything in front of you, the next step is to start going through all the stuff that you can get rid of. And I'd much rather start with all the stuff you can get rid of, because it gets you in this mood of just purging and you feel good about getting rid of some of the really obvious stuff. And then you move into getting rid of some of the stuff that you may have thought was necessary, but when you really think about it, you can just do without it. Everything that's left, you're going to classify into 3 new categories. Those 3 remaining categories are the things that need to be consolidated. So you might have 2 processes and you look at them and you go, you know, we could make these the same. So a good example would be adding customers and deleting customers. So if you have a process for adding new customers to your business, there are elements of that process that you probably need to go back and revisit when you remove a customer from the active customer file too, like updating their credit file policies or pulling them out of the active customer database or flipping a tag or a switch here or there, depending on all the things that you went through to set them up. So the first group is stuff that you can consolidate. The second group is stuff that you need to rewrite, which by definition, some of those consolidated things, rarely you're just gonna be able to take 2 and push them together. You're probably gonna have to rewrite them. So that's why you consolidate first, you rewrite second, and then the third group is the group that you can just leave alone. And typically that's gonna be a fairly small group, and that's why we do it last. We want you to do that after you've gotten really good at throwing stuff away, after you've gotten really good at pushing stuff together, and after you've gotten really good at rewriting stuff. And then and only then are you gonna look at the stuff that you think you should just keep. And usually that tends to be a very small number. So on the front end, the stuff that we get rid of, that stuff we want to be as big as possible. And the stuff we keep as is, we want that to be typically as small as possible. Consolidate a lot, rewrite a little bit, and prune, prune, prune. The whole organization's better. And what you wind up seeing is that the proverbial trunk of the tree, the culture of your organization, improves drastically because you can finally see it without all the cruft of these unnecessary, antiquated, outdated policies, processes, procedures. See you guys tomorrow. I'm in my driveway waiting for a text message from my wife that says the dog's under control and will not bark when I come in the house and wake up the baby. This is the stuff you learn, little tricks of the trade when you have a toddler again. I don't know what we did without text messaging for the first two.